Alrighty then. Where's stream? There's stream. Is stream working? Audio's working. Ooh, ow. Yep. Audio is working as it should. Stream's up, chat's up, are all good to go. Now we won't start the intro just yet. We're waiting on one more driver to join the lobby. A driver in the AlphaTauri is currently missing. Oh, somebody's joined. Who was that? It's Mr. Ryan Bell. Of course, it's Ryan. He's back from his break. He's now among us here in Pacific Tier 1. It's great to see him back. I wonder if he's lost any form over his holiday, or will he be straight back on the button straight away here at Circuit Paul Ricard. Everyone's getting ready. We're at 8. Come on, another 2. Another 2. Somebody press the tick. Come on. Somebody needs to press the tick. We need to get going. We're already 3 minutes late. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. There's the timer. Alright. Hop into notes here. Scroll up. There we are. When the screen cuts to black, I'll start the intro proper and we can get this session underway. Hello everyone and welcome to round 11 of the Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and tonight we'll be racing at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. This 5.84km 15-turn circuit was created in 1969 near the town of Le Castellet and has hosted Formula 1 Grand Prix since 1971. The most unique feature of this iconic French circuit is the insane amount of runoff area around every corner. The feature makes it almost impossible for a driver to crash into a barrier after having an accident, so it's incredibly safe. But let me assure you, from my experiences as a commentator, it's certainly not completely impossible. Around the circuit there are 2 DRS zones. One leads down the main straight into turn 1. The other leads down the Mistral straight into the turn 8-9 chicane. These will prove to be the primary overtaking areas of the circuit, though drivers can also try and pass into the right-handers of turn 3 and turn 11. But even with the opportunities, it will prove difficult to overtake, which makes this qualifying session all that more important. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Australia. There were no incident reports submitted by the drivers last week. As a result, no penalties were dished out by the stewards, and the final finishing positions remain unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, it is Big Al who leads the way on 206 points, followed by G-Force Ford on 153. 53 points separating the top two in the Drivers' Championship. Just 6 points behind Ford is Destiel in P3 on 147, followed by Seb on 132. Then rounding out the top 5 is Spicy Salami on 125. G-Force Leo is P6 on 114, followed by Plebs on 108. 1 point behind him is F1 Ferrari Pro on 107, followed by Wogboy on 86 and G-Force Crichton rounds out the top 10 on 68 points. In the Constructors, Ferrari are leading the way. They're on 260. It's a tight fight between them and Red Bull Racing. They're on 246, just 14 points behind Ferrari. And just 10 points behind them is Alfa Romeo on 236. So an incredibly tight fight brewing. I eventually got there. An incredibly tight fight brewing between the top 3 teams. Alpine are P4 on 175, followed by Haas on 167. Then McLaren on 155. 1 point behind them is Mercedes on 154. Behind them is AlphaTauri on 111, then Aston Martin on 110, and Williams are well and truly at the bottom of the table on 46 points. But that's it in terms of news. We can now focus on this qualifying session. Nice to see you in the chat, ECW, as well. Yeah, we'll see if your poll prediction comes true. It looks like it's going to be a fairly dry session. We can see a little bit of cloud cover, but it shouldn't really affect us, I would think. Now, Wogboy is about to begin a flying lap. Tell you what, we're going to ride on board with the Mercedes driver, give a guided tour of this 5.84 kilometre, 15 turn racetrack. Down the main straightaway, we begin his flying lap. Up towards turn 1 here, entry speed at 330 kilometres an hour. Bring it down to 5th gear, then up and over turn 2. Be careful of that inside curve. It's very easy to lose control if you touch too much of that curve. Up towards turn 3, 7th gear, down to 4th gear, then through turn 4, down to 3rd, up towards turn 5, one of the slower corners on the racetrack, completing the first sector. Around turn 6 and up towards turn 7, onto the Mistral Straight. You'll open DRS and head up towards the best overtaking spot on the circuit, the turn 8-9 chicane. Hard on the brakes at the 100-metre board, down to 4th gear, clobbering over the inside curb. Oh, he's actually collected the bollard. You could hear it as it was bouncing about in the front suspension. He's back on the Mistral Straight, heading towards turn 10. An insignificant corner in dry conditions, or I can tell you in the wet. It is full of nightmare fuel when the conditions get damp. Around turn 11, one of my favourite corners in Formula 1. 5th gear on the exit, planting the power down as he heads around turn 12. A bit of understeer, but he gets rotation late. Gets a nice exit as he heads around turn 13. Now the penultimate corner, turn 14. Down to 5th gear, down to 4th gear. Now the final corner, turn 15. Bait sets a 31.0. That's the benchmark for everyone else to beat. Wogboy will do a 1 minute 30.332. He goes 7.5 tenths faster than Bait. So Bait probably not setting a representative lap time just yet. Crichton jumps to the top with a 30.2. He goes a tenth quicker than Wogboy. Ferrari Pro does a 30.6. Cy Luke making his way through the final sector. Broke Vegan jumps up to P3 with a 30.4. Reese Cohen here. This is Darren 11. Goes slowest of all with a 31.2. Or GeForce Leo jumps to the top. First into the 29s. That's beaten by Ryan Bell. Quite considerably as well. By a little over a tenth and a half. A little under a tenth and a half, actually. ACW reserve driving for this race. GeForce Ford on the medium compound tyre, so he's not going to be setting any representative lap times during the opening phases of this session. Up towards the line for Destiel. This is bound to be quick. It is quick. Second fastest of all. He is a mere 7 thousandths in front of GeForce Leo. At the moment, it is Bell at the top. T-Mac making his way around. So is Big Al. Nash Jr. Oh, losing a little bit of control there through turn 6 into turn 7. But he keeps the car, for the most part, on the racetrack. GeForce Ford, again, on the mediums. How many drivers have set times on the mediums, actually? Yeah, alright. So Spicy has, Reese has, Bags has as well. So a few drivers doing some laps on the medium compound tyre early. Interesting to see. Up towards the line for Ford. This will give us an idea of how quick the mediums are. He's in the 10. A 30.391. Just behind ACW on the medium tyre. That is quick. Seb making his way through the middle sector onto the back straightaway up towards turn 8. He's got DRS wide open as he heads up towards the left-hander. Entry speed 333 kilometers an hour. Down to 4th gear, back on the accelerator, then down to 3rd as T-Mac has left the session. Back onto the Mistral Straight, planting the accelerator as he heads towards turn 10. Is that Jim Bin behind? It is Jim Bin behind, so we'll keep an eye on these two for at least a little while. But as it stands right now, 3 drivers in the 1 minute 29s. Seb, is he capable enough to join that group? His teammate is up there, and Seb, he's around his teammate's pace. Oh, but that mistake will cost him time. A big wiggle at the exit of turn 12. Jin Bin, meanwhile, 2 corners left to negotiate. Turns 14 and 15. Here at Circuit Paul Ricard. Down to 3rd gear, Short shifting up to 4th at the apex of the final corner. One of my least favourite corners in Formula 1. Seb goes 10th quickest with a 30.5. Jinbin goes 4th with a 30.0. Just missing out on the 29s, but he's on the second row right now. Championship leader Big Al coming towards the end of his flying lap. Will he jump up into the 29s out of the final corner down the main straightaway with DRS open? What will the clock say for the championship leader? It says it's a 29.740. He jumps to the top by half a tenth of a second. Incredibly tight at the top of the board. See if Destiel and Leo can join the battle. Maybe Crichton could as well. Maybe ACW, Ford definitely can. We'll see what Seb can do. Seb made a mistake on his lap, ultimately cost him time. In fact, a lot of these guys could probably challenge towards the top if I'm being brutally honest. These guys are ridiculously fast. What's Vegan up to? He's making his way through the first sector. Ferrari Pro through the middle. Bates through the middle as well. So I think it's Crichton is going to be the first of these drivers to try and attempt a flying lap, maybe. Or is it Leo? No, it's Leo. Interesting. No, it's not Leo. Sorry, I got the Red Bulls confused on the mini-map. So, okay, must be Crichton. We'll keep an eye on him then. Currently P7 with a 30.2 as Luke has left the session. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. I think T-Mac, well, his car is still in the pit, so hopefully T-Mac can find a way in. As it stands right now, it's awesome to see a full grid in Tier 1 again. It's been a while, but I'm so grateful to see a full grid here, as this might be the last time we see Circuit Paul Ricard used in an online league race in Formula 1, as T-Mac has rejoined. On the 2023 calendar, Circuit Paul Ricard is absent. The French Grand Prix is gone, at least for the foreseeable future. Whether or not Codemasters add this track as DLC remains to be seen. So the drivers have to take the opportunity now to say goodbye to the racetrack, as Crichton is down by 65 thousandths to the first sector. See if you can find any time here in the middle. And there's not much to be gained in the middle, to be completely honest. There's only a couple of corners to try and negotiate. Got this turn 8 and 9 chicane. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward for these drivers. Out towards the middle sector split. Has he found any time? Clock says he has. He's found about a tenth to the middle sector. A little over a tenth in the middle sector. So maybe reducing the wings a little bit. Maybe he got better exits out of turn 6 and out of turn 9. But this is where you're going to find a whole chunk of time in the final sector. A lot of tricky corners to try and negotiate through here. Got turn 11, the tricky late apex turn 12. It's flat through 13, but then you got this two-corner complex of 14 and 15. You have to be so gentle on the brake, so gentle on the accelerator. Then you have to be gentle on the brake again, then gentle on the accelerator, then floor it on the exit. A lot of modulation through 14 and 15. I think that was Ferrari Pro jumping up to P6. Crichton's jumped up to 5th with a 29.9. Just 100th behind GeForce Leo, who is up, and considerably too. A little under 0.2 of a second. He might be able to challenge pole position if he's found any more time in this final sector. He hasn't. Oh, he's missed out on being on the front row. Not by much, though. Not by much at all. 18 thousandths of a second. Bell's invalidated this lap, so he's going slowly. Destiel on a flying lap is up by 2/10 to the first sector. Middle sector split, he's found about 400ths. He's up by 2/10 overall. Got a bit of traffic in front of him. A Williams in front. They should stay out of the way. They do. Well done to that Williams driver. Around turn 11, 5th gear. Tidy exit as well as he heads around turn 12. Down to 4th gear. Clipping the apex. Oh, a little wiggle on the exit though. Might have cost him a little bit of time. Hugging the curb all the way around 13. Turning through turn 14. And then through 15. The final corner on the racetrack. Very tidy through the final sector. DRS open. Up towards the line for Destiel. It's a 1:29.817. He improves by only a tenth. So maybe that wiggle out of turn 12 cost him a fair chunk of time. He's missed out on taking Leo by 5 thousandths of a second. Ridiculous. Jinbin making his way through the first sector. Current PB is a 30.0. He'll be looking to crack into the 29s as he heads through turn 5. First sector split, he's up by half a tenth. That's a solid improvement in the first sector. He'll be looking to try and minimise time loss here in the middle sector. He'll open DRS and head up towards the turn 8-9 chicane. His teammate Vegan is off the racetrack. I'm thinking he's on an in-lap. Wogboy making his way through the first sector, up towards the first sector split. Currently P11 with a 30.3. He's found 800ths to the first sector, respectively. Jinbin is up. He's up by a tenth to the middle sector. With that sort of improvement, he will go into the 29s. Around turn 11, down to 6th gear, down to 5th gear, through the long right-hander. Tidy exit, using plenty of curb, keeping at least 2 tyres over the white line at the exit there. Tidy exit out of turn 12 as well, hugging the curb all the way around 13. Around the penultimate corner, turn 14, down to 4th gear, down to 3rd gear for the final corner, short shifting at the apex, up to 4th, and then opening DRS, heading down the main straightaway towards the line. It's a 29.8, P5 for Jinbin, who's in front of Ford and Crichton. Ford, I think he's on an in-lap. Yeah, it looks like it, not using any battery, he's low on fuel as well, so he's on an in-lap. ACW on an in-lap as well. Luke, don't think he's on an in-lap. Looks like he's pushing, coming out of turn 9, back onto the Mistral straight. Clock says to the middle sector, he's up by a tenth of a second, and he's just been demoted down to P11. That would have been Wogboy jumping up to 8th with a 30.041. Someone else has jumped up as well. That'll be Reese Cohen in 7th with a 29.9. Moves just in front of Crichton by 4 thousandths of a second. Out of turn 12. Around turn 13. 2 corners remain. 14 and 15. Bring it down to 4th gear. Back on the accelerator. Nice and easy. As he heads round the final turn. Back onto the main straightaway. He's low on fuel, but he won't mind that all too much. Up towards the line for Luke. It's a 30.0 P10. He joins Wogboy. 2 drivers in the 30.0s. Who else have we got? Plebs down in P15 with a 30.4. T-Mac, he's on an in-lap. Currently P18. It's seriously tight, folks. Just over a second separating the field of 20 cars. Insane stuff. Reese will be moving back into the pit lane. Wogboy doing the same. So is Luke. So is Plebs. So it's now a waiting game, folks. We got a couple of drivers moving out. I wonder who that would be. I think I saw Ferrari move out. That would be Ferrari Pro. His mechanics are moving. So Ferrari Pro is making his way out of the pits. We have a McLaren out there. That will be Mash Jr. He's currently last with a 30.8. Not a bad lap at all. Not at all bad. These guys are just setting pretty quick times. So we have Ferrari Pro out there. Bell's out there too. Ferrari Pro is invalidated through turn 2. That's okay. You can invalidate your outlap so long as you don't do it at the final corner. If you do it at the final corner, that's basically capital punishment if you do that. Oh, what a fantastic qualifying session this has been so far. What do these guys have left in store? As the clock ticks down, we're getting closer to the end of this qualifying session. Bell trying to dump fuel. He might be doing a prep lap after his out lap. We'll keep an eye on this. But this might be the reason why he's out so early. He's not just going to do an out lap. He might do a prep lap as well, just to really try and burn fuel. You can see that's what he's doing right now. Revving the car out in 6th gear. He is really revving it, trying to dump as much fuel as possible. Meanwhile, Mash Jr., he's getting himself ready for his final run, taking it very easy around the final corner, getting himself lined up, ready to run. ACW has rejoined the session as Mash Jr. sends it down the main straightaway to begin his final flying lap attempt with 1 minute and 36 seconds left on the clock. Through turn 1, through turn 2, nice and tidy out to the right-hander. He'll make his way up towards turn 3, 7th gear. Revs it out in 7th, bring it down to 4th gear, down to 3rd, up to 4th again, down to 3rd, up to 4th, there we go. First sector says he's up by 4.5 tenths of a second. He's found a tremendous amount of time in the first sector. Ryan Bell, no, he's pushing, so he's not doing a prep lap at all. He is sending it up towards the first sector split for Ryan Bell. He's up by 0.06 of a second, so he's found a little bit of time in the first sector. That's always a good thing to see. Oh, land cable disconnected. Oh dear. Up to the first sector, second sector split. Mash is up by 0.5 second. Williams' car gets out of the way. He's got one final sector to go through. Ryan Bell making his way onto the Mistral straight, up towards the middle sector split. He's got a bit of traffic in front, but he has found a tremendous amount of time in the middle sector. He's found 2.5 tenths overall, and about 2 tenths in the middle sector. He's still got traffic to deal with though. Oh, in a moment, outside! My word, he lost control. He's losing control. He spins. The flying lap is ruined. He was up by a monumental amount, but he spun it. He threw it away at turn 12. Oh my word. And that's it. Qualifying done. He will not challenge for pole position. Meanwhile, Big Al is up by 36 thousandths of a second. G-Force Leo is making his way through the first sector, up towards the first sector split. Clock says he's down overall. G-Force Ford making his way through the first sector. Crichton up by a tenth to the first sector, up towards the middle sector split. He's up by 2 tenths overall. Big Al will go back up to him. He's making his way around turn 11, up towards turn 12. Down to 5th, down to 4th gear. Nice and tidy on the exit. No oversteer, no wheel spin whatsoever through turn 12. 2 corners left, 14 and 15. Down to 4th gear, back on the accelerator, modulating it as much as he can. Out of the final turn, down the main straightaway. Bates jumped up to P7 with a 29.9. Big Al will set a 29.679. He improves on his pole position lap. Can anybody beat it though? Leo, he's not up. He's still down in the middle sector. Crichton will cross the line, jump up to P5. Destiel's done. He stays P4. What can Leo do? What can 40 do in P7? We've got to keep our eyes out for those two drivers in P3, P7. DRS open, down the main straightaway, up towards the line. Leo, he improves. It's P2. It's not enough for pole. What about 40 though? Can he jump up? Can he improve? The answer is yes, he can! A 29.665. He's just beaten Big Al right at the death of qualifying. 14 thousandths of a second. You're kidding me. What a fantastic qualifying session. High quality stuff from Tier 1 tonight. 40 starts from pole. Big Al will start alongside in P2. Leo P3, followed by Bell. He was on a mega lap, but he threw it away at turn 12. Destiel P5, followed by Crichton in 6th. Seb 7th, Jimbin 8th, Bait 9th. Reese rounds out the top 10. Then we have Broke Vegan, Wogboy, Mash Jr, P13. Then we have Luke, ACW, Ferrari Pro, Spicy, Plebs, Bags Liddell, and T-Mac will start from the back, but he's only a second off pole. That is crazy. Crazy times. On a racetrack that's just under 6 kilometers long, it's got 15 corners to negotiate. The fact qualifying's that close. Top-notch driving from everybody. That is so cool. Yeah, absolutely, please. That is fantastic. You know, when everything clicks, this is good stuff. That's the thing with F1 22. This is a buggy, broken game. But when everything clicks, it's not bad. And we still had issues during qualifying. We had people dropping out, people having to jump back in, but everyone was able to set a lap time, and everyone was separated by 1 second from top to bottom. That's insane. That's awesome stuff. Fantastic. And it looks like everybody is going to start on the hard compound tyre as well, except for one lonely Spicy Salami. Down in P17, he's starting on the mediums. I reckon he's going to be a lonely salami out there. He's going to have a lot of grip early. He's going to make up... I'm going to predict 3 spots on the opening lap on those tyres alone. He's going to have so much grip. But after that, he's going to be a bit on the back foot because everyone else is on the hard to medium strat. Maybe even hard to soft. I'm not sure here at Paul Ricard. I'm not sure if the soft tyre is usable at all. It's been a while since I've raced here, but I would guess it's hard to medium, like every other racetrack. And I can't use Elite Series as a reference. That race rained. We might have some rain. It's clear, but we might have clouds. I don't know. I haven't got a weather report, so I've got no idea. Oh, we'll get rid of the graphic there. Keep our eye on Mr. Ford here as he warms up his tyres profusely, weaving about left and right, trying to get some sort of temperature into his tyres. There's a bit of understeer there, mate. Might need a bit more front tyre tempo, I reckon, there. That was a lot of understeer through turn 11. Big Al probably doing much better with his tyres. Got a burn up going on. Oh, a bit of a front locker. He's trying to get the temperature in his brakes. He likes getting very close to 40. He's not afraid of getting very close to 40's gearbox and rear diffuser. He quite likes a Ferrari rear diffuser. He likes the look of it. But I'm sure he would like to see the Ferrari front wing in his rear mirror. Knowing Big Al, he'd probably like to see that in his rear mirror. 40, though, would like to see the entire field in his rear view mirror. Now, lining up onto the grid, 40 has a slightly better starting position. It's a slightly cleaner side of the racetrack compared to Big Al. But if Big Al gets a better start, he'll be able to try and drive around the outside of turn 1. As he will be starting on the racing line. We'll see what happens between the top 2. T-Mac's lined up, ready to run. We're just waiting for the lights now. All 20 cars are lined up, ready to run. We have 27 laps and 10 red lights. We're underway here at Le Castellet. It's a nice start from Ryan Bell. Ford covers straight away, but Big Al gets the jump. On the racing line, he will lead down towards turn 1. Bell trying to follow Al round the outside at the opening corner. That turns into the inside at turn 2. They're fighting at the exit. Wiggle, touch! Oh, but they save it. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Someone hasn't saved it, though. It's Jinbin. He's down to last. An accident at turn 2. Through turn 4. Up towards turn 5. Bell gets in front. Leo tries to find a way through. Ooh, that's tight. 2x2 through turn 6. Destiel. Oh, can't quite get in front of G-Force Leo. That was really tight through turn 5. Thank goodness they got through that unscathed. 40 gets back through. He's into second place. Maybe that Ferrari has slightly better straight line speed. All in all, a fairly good start. Oh, as Luke Bate battling for position through turn 9. Back on to the Mistral straight. It's a drag race. Now Ferrari Pro might get involved. Spicy's up to P11. What a mega start. He's exceeded my expectations. He's up 7 positions. Up towards turn 11. Leaders getting through A-OK. So is the midfield. Well, what's going on here? Side-by-side action towards the tail of the pack as we exit turn 11. Up towards turn 12. T-Mac has a look but can't fully commit down the inside. He stays behind in P18. All in all, a very good start. Poor Jim Bindo down in P20. I wonder what happened to him during turns 1 and 2. He's now 3.6 seconds behind the pack. Big Al, though, is leading the way, and he's already got a comfortable margin of 2.2 seconds after the opening lap. Really smart stuff from Big Al. Great conversion off the line. 40 was left a bit standing on the grid there. Al was able to drive away and pull away. Bell in 3rd position. Leo in 4th, followed by Destiel, Crichton, Reese, Cohen, Seb, Luke, and Bate rounds out the top 10. Biggest movers, we have Luke up 5 positions, Spicy up 6, I mentioned that earlier. So those medium tyres working really well. Ferrari Pro up 4, Reese up 3. Biggest loser, obviously, Jinbin with his accident at turn 2. He is closing on Bags Liddell, though. The gap has shrunk to 2.7 seconds. This is going to be a fairly interesting battle here in this midfield pack. Got an immensely large GRS train forward. Look at them! All in a train, everybody! That's just, frankly, insane. Love it. And Al's out in front. He's driving away. He's actually built 3/10 already over Ford. That's how much pace he's got right now. He's looking somewhat untouchable. Fordy's got a lot of work to do in that P2 position, leading this ginormous train. It's from second down to 19th. It's the entire mid-pack. We got a leader, we got a guy properly in last, but he is closing in. Jinbin is still closing in. But then we have everybody else. That's the mid-pack. We have a leader, we have 20th, and then the mid-pack. Now, these guys in the middle, I suspect, aren't going to be doing much. Maybe Spicy could, as he's on the grippier tyre. He's on the medium compound tyre, so he would need to be brave. He needs to try and send it to try and make this work. Because as soon as he moves on to the hard tyre for the second half of the race, and everyone else has moved on to the mediums, he's going to be a sitting duck. Here comes Spicy. Looks to the inside, Bait half covers. Send down the inside from Spicy. Bait tries to fight back though. He has the inside line through turn 9. They get out of the corner cleanly. It's a drag race now. McLaren versus AlphaTauri. Who's got the longer legs? Bait has the inside line through turn 10. Keeps the position. Understeers a little bit though after the apex. Spicy looks down the inside. Contact and spin goes Spicy. It was very tight there at the entry at turn 11. It was very, very tight with room. Who knows, I might get sent up to the stewards, I don't know. But Spicy, what I do know is that Spicy's down in 20th place now. Yeah, that got tight, that got real tight at turn 11. Base was not open to the idea of giving room to battle for position. Bell sets a new fastest lap, 34.190. It must not have been a good lap for Big Al. He dropped about half a tenth to Ford. Either that or Ford's picked up the pace. Either or, the gap has reduced between the top two cars. And that might have been the only bit of battling we see in that mid-pack. Spicy had the tyre advantage. He had the opportunity to try and move forward. And unfortunately, whilst trying to move forward, he went backwards a lot. It seems that Ford might have put the hammer down. The gap has shrunk to 1.8 seconds. Oh my word, Bell was sending it at turn 8. He was sideways coming out to the left-hander. Unfortunately, he was able to counter-steer himself into the right-hander at turn 9. And he was sending it through there. Good stuff. Round the long right-hander of turn 11. Flat out. All the way round at the exit anyway. Then through turn 12, definitely not flat out here. You want to be so very careful. Another wiggle from Bell. Well, the gap's evening out between the top two, so maybe Al did make a mistake and allowed Ford to get a bit closer. And now they're fairly even in terms of outright pace. Now lap 5 of 27, Destiel sets a new fastest lap, 34.111. Spicy, he's attacking Jinbin. He moves through into 19th position. At least he's not last. And a big bonus for both Spicy and Jinbin, they've now caught on to the back of the train, so they're back in this pack. They're still in with a shot for a decent points haul. Maybe not a race win. Big Al out in front. Looks pretty comfy right now. No one's close enough to challenge him. Ford has plenty of company in the form of Ryan Bell. He is well and truly behind. Oh, hello, Destiel. Crichton. Spinning goes Crichton. That is at turn 9. He and Destiel were side by side. Did the two touch? I'm not sure. I would guess so. You don't normally spin out like that on your own, so I'm going to guess there was contact. Oh, it's dicey, heading up towards turn 11. Crichton looking down the inside here at the exit of turn 11. Junior not giving up though. He has the dominant inside line. No, he doesn't. Crichton dives it in. Gets the car in front. Junior's forced wide. Rejoins almost alongside. Around turn 14, Crichton gets in front. Now Plebs joins the battle. Right behind the McLaren as they go onto the main straight. So a bit of drama there. Crichton and Desti all battling through turn 8. Crichton got the short end of the stick, that's for sure. He's now down in P13 with a fair chunk of work to do. Nice aerial shot here, looking down at the racetrack. Seeing the drivers make their way through the first sector. Round turn 3, round turn 4, and up towards the tight right of turn 5. Now through the critical and very tricky turn 6. I say critical because that corner dictates how much speed you carry around turn 7, which ultimately dictates how much speed you carry down the long Mistral straight. Bell applying a lot of pressure here to Ford. He's actually drawing alongside. He got mega traction out of turn 9. He's going to get in front, I do believe. He has. What a run out of turn 9. Can Ford try and fight back? He looks but doesn't commit. Not fully to the move. So Bell moves up into P2. 40 down to P3. Gee whiz, how did he pull that off? He's got way better traction. Either that or 40 deliberately let him through. Not sure. Not sure at all. Ferrari Pro putting pressure on Bate, who is now 1.8 seconds behind St. Luke. So we got two separate trains forming. We have the top 8, and then, well, everybody else. Towards turn 1, Ferrari Pro getting closer. Not close enough to overtake through the opening corner. Midfield making their way through turn 2, down towards turn 3. And now Ryan Bell has gotten to within a second of Big Al, so that is a proper 8-car train at the front of the field now. Although I've just caught Leo. Does he have DRS? No, he does not. And look at him, he is dumping all of his battery. So then not only can he try and keep Destiel at bay, to try and catch up to Ford and get DRS back. So important to keep DRS in these F1 league races. If you don't have it, you're so much slower. So much slower. DRS is a massive help. Ferrari Pro gets by Bate. He moves into P9. Bate, can he try in any way, shape or form for a counter-attack? Whoa, Ferrari Pro's a tad bit wide. He keeps the position. Round turn 12. Wog Boy's close. Not really close enough to do anything just yet. We've got these fellas just outside the points. So close to the points. Plevs in that final point scoring spot of 15th. Ridiculously close stuff. Crichton, ACW, side by side down the main straightaway. Seems that ACW is going to try and keep this. No, he can't. Crichton round the outside at turn 1. Takes the inside line at 2. Runs a bit wide. But he keeps the position. He's into P12. Quite a gamey move there. Sending it round the outside. He's not mucking around. He's trying to gain as many positions as he can. Try and get back up towards the front. Destiel closing in on Leo. Does not fully commit to a move. There's the leaders making their way through 9. Destiel in P5. Hunting G-Force Leo in P4. They're playing battery 67%. Leo though, in his attempt to try and catch up to the top 3, has spent most of his. He's down to 11% compared to 68 for Destiel. Bell and Al getting close. Oh, desync, huge desync. No, a mistake. That's a mistake from Bell. It's cost himself time. Oh, touch through turn 12. Destiel gets by G-Force Leo, who was ghosting. Was that? I could have sworn he was ghosting. It looked like it was. That might have been a trick with the light. Okay, Destiel moves through. He's into P4. Leo down to P5. Big Al now has a 1.2 second lead. 40's now back in second after Bell's mistake at turn 11. Tidy run out of turn 2. We might bring up the tyre graphic now. We're getting close to pit stops, I imagine. Through turn 4, round turn 5, completing the opening sector. Ford within a second, so he should get DRS here. Will he gain any time on Big Al? Let's see. Gap's 9 tenths at the beginning of the DRS zone. 8.5, 8 tenths, 7.5, 7 tenths, 6.5 tenths. So finding a fair chunk of time down the straightaway thanks to DRS alone. Broke Vegan Plebs battling through turn 8. Vegan gets in front. He moves into P15. Bags and Jinbin. Oh, Jinbin wide. Heading back onto the Mistral straight. It's a drag race now. Williams versus Aston Martin. 19th versus 20th. These guys are battling hard. Liddell with the inside line stays in front. You'll also have the inside line here at turn 11. Jinbin tries to look low, but Bags covers. But as a result, he's now 1.2 seconds behind T-Mac. Just be careful, he's going to be very, very vulnerable to Jinbin. We're not battling for last place, people. That's how competitive this is. Down the main straightaway. Beginning lap 10. Big Al still leading the way. He's looked good, he's looked comfortable. No one's really challenged him just yet. Bell got close, but after his mistake, he's now back down in third. Now Destiel. He's joined the party, and Leo's losing time. He can't afford to lose time to the top 4. The gap sits at just under, now just over a second. If that gap stays like that, and it looks like it will, Leo might start to lose time to the top 4. And he will fall into the clutches of Reese Cohen and Seb. Alright, we might have a 3-car battle then for P5 on track. Back up to the top 4. Destiel in 4th. Ryan Bell, a mistake in 3rd. Here comes Destiel, drawing alongside. Not quite. Bell's got enough straight line speed to keep the Haas at bay. Out to turn 10, towards turn 11. Destiel looks. Oh, it's tight contact! And around goes Bell! Oh my word. Destiel rejoins down in 4th place. Maybe 5th. If Reese can find a way by, he gets close, but not close enough. But Bell, a spin, contact with Destiel at turn 11. It sends him down to 8th, behind Sire Luke. Oh my word. Drama, drama, drama. So now we have just a 2-car fight for the lead. What was an 8-car has turned into a 2-car fight. 40 has got fair chunk of work to do to keep up with Big Al. Right now he's doing a pretty good job of it. Leo 2.4 seconds behind. Has got Destiel right behind him. Crichton a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Yellow's out, it's Vegan. Turn 2. Might have done that on his own. It's very easy to spin out there. Ferrari Pro has left the session. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. It will mean he'll be overtaken by Bate and by everyone else who's behind. Destiel down the inside, heading towards turn 8. He'll get in front of Leo. Won't be much the Red Bull driver can do about that. Going just behind, followed by Seb, Sire Luke, then Bell, who's on the recovery drive. But yeah, because of Ferrari Pro's disconnect, he's tumbling down the order. He's got no pace. The AI can do nothing. Oh. Leo trying to keep up with Destiel, trying to keep this fight alive. Destiel's got a lot of work to do to close in. 2.5 seconds to Al and Ford. Leo staying within a second's range. He's 6 tenths behind, heading through turn 14. So he'll get DRS down the main straightaway, which will mean ultimately he'll keep Reese and Seb at bay. Bit too far behind though to try and challenge Destiel into turn 1. Rest of the field, we have Bate now leading the train. This was Ferrari Pro at the front here. It's now Bate. He's got a pair of silver arrows right behind him. The former Wogboy and Crichton, ACW and P12. Just hovering behind at the back of the train, on his own business right now. And there's Ferrari Pro's AI tumbling. He's rejoined. It's not going to be a great sight though. He's now in P15. Here comes P16 Plebs. Going to demote him down another position. Al's got his wing mirrors full of red right now, as Reese gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So not an ideal set of circumstances for Reese Cohen. Not at all. Especially in a field this competitive. Crichton gets by his teammate. Wogboy gets Wogboy gets overtaken by ACW. So I'm guessing Wogboy made a mistake out of turn 9. Pledge gets by Mash Jr. Wait, was that Pledge getting by Mash, or was that Spicer getting by Pledge? Either way, somebody overtook somebody. Is that the Aaron L3F4 in the chat? Oh my word. That is the Aaron L3F4. Leo making his way into the pits at the end of lap 12. Spicer gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I think he got that at pit entry. This game's sucky. Man, it's just... How do you get warnings by going through pit entry normally? And how is that not fixed yet? Like, there's a very particular way you have to go into the pits here at Paul Ricard. And if you don't do it, you get warnings, which usually leads to a time penalty. Vegan coming in as well to move on to the medium tyre. Alright then, so what do the top two do? Will one of them try and undercut? Will both pit in at the same time? Well, 40, he's getting a move on. He's moved into P1 as he heads through turn 9. We have a new race leader. Big Al down to P2. He won't mind that though, Al. Won't mind that at all. What might be a worry is Destiel's closing in. He's got a whole heap of speed. The gap has shrunk to 1.5 seconds. 1.6 to be exact, between Al and Destiel. Heading up towards turn 12. This is a terrible camera angle. Right on board. Alright. Do the leaders pit? That is the question. Ford's in, so is Al. Destiel stays out. He's going to go for the overcut. Reese stays out. Luke's in. Seb stays out. Bell stays out. Bates stays out. Interesting. Both AlphaTauris stay out. Mash gets a penalty because this game is stupid. Ferrari Pro wide. Very wide. Here comes T-Mac. Almost a collision there. A lot of drivers moving on to mediums. Big Al behind Ford. Only by a whisker though. Now this outlap is going to be very important. Both drivers need to keep mistakes to a minimum. There's GeForce Leo, and he's got tyres that are up to temperature. He's going to be very quick through this first sector. Can he get within a second of the two drivers in front? Up towards turn 3. Gap shrinks to 1.7. Through turn 4. The gap is shrinking some more. Around turn 5. It's now 1.4. Oh, he's just going to miss out on DRS here. He is going to close in a little bit more, I would think. He'll dump whatever battery he's got left. In fact, no, he's not. He's got none left. He's on 2%. So he is well and truly out of battery. Alright. Oh, if Leo can get within DRS range, he puts himself back into the fight. Though, I think now Ford and Al, their tyres are back up to optimal temperature ranges. So, yeah, I think that might be it for Leo in terms of his charge back to the fight at the front. Destiel gets a 5-second penalty for speeding. That's not a warning problem. That's a speeding problem. And that's a huge blow. You got to remember, it's only 60 kilometers an hour. The speed limit here at Paul Ricard. Bell sets a new fastest lap. Ferrari Pro makes the same mistake as Destiel, a speeding penalty. And he comes. Medium's on. Keep an eye on that red dot, making its way down the main straight. Destiel has the last pit stall, so it's a short run out of the pits. There goes Forward. There goes Al. Here comes Leo, who's set the fastest lap. Remember, similar story to the lap before. Destiel's tyres are cold. Leo will try and close in. Now Destiel's got problems. He's got a 5-second time penalty looming over his head. Grove Vegan, new fastest lap, 32.2. Temperatures are steadily rising. He's getting closer and closer to 80 degrees. Rear left has hit 80, rear right has hit 80. Then straight here, the rear tyres are going to heat up. Leo, meanwhile, has DRS and is closing in on Destiel. Gap between Destiel and Big Al sits at 1.1 seconds. Use all of the battery, Destiel. Big Al has got 33% left. Crichton gets a penalty. 40's got 63%, so 40 doing pretty well when it comes to battery. Got a fair few drivers staying out though, including the two AlphaTauris. They're still running. What might be the game plan is Bell and Bate might be hoping for a safety car to come out. Might benefit them tremendously, although Bate, no, he's not. Oh, and Wogboy gets a speeding penalty too. 5 seconds next to his name. Gotta remember, fellas, speed limit 60 here at Paul Ricard. You have to slow up a lot. New mediums on Bates' car. Where's he going to filter out? Let's find out. Here comes Wogboy down the main straight. He moves through. I think Bate... Oh, sorry, that was Crichton moving through. I think Bate and Wogboy get clear track. Pretty much do. Big Al applying big pressure to G-Force Ford. There's Bags Liddell in 4th position, yet to stop. DRS open. Not using any battery, Big Al. Just using the power of DRS to close the gap. And Destiel's within range. Less than a second behind. Seb, 2.5 tenths behind Reese Cohen. We might have a battle on here for P9. Cy Luke isn't too far behind either. Seb down the second half of the Mistral straight, heading around turn 10. Then up towards turn 11. Brings it down to 6th gear, down to 5th gear. Bell gets a speeding penalty. Guys, I complimented you a lot with your qualifying performance. It doesn't help if you send it into the pit lane entry. Bags will stay out another lap, it seems. Interesting. Well, Bags, he's going to get overtaken here by G-Force Ford. Ford moves through into the race lead. Through turn 1. Into turn 2. Now Bags has got Big Al closing in. Bags using a bit of battery, defends the inside. He's allowed to, of course. This is his position. Doesn't have to give way. That is a choice he can make. Moves through into 2nd place, Big Al. Bags down to 3rd. Destiel closing in. The gap's now 1 second between the top two. Destiel looking left and right to try and find a way through. He's going to get by here. Les Bags has got better straight line speed. He does have slightly better straight line speed, but he won't have the grip. Yep. Destiel moves through into 3rd position. Well, after Al's and Bags' little battle through turn 3, the gap has opened up to 1.1 seconds between Ford and Al. Al has got no battery left. Ford has got 50% battery. I say Ford's picked up his game when it comes to battery preservation and recharge. He's improved that quite a lot. Al's got a fair chunk of work to do. So does Destiel. He's low on battery too. He's spent a fair chunk. So, yeah. Al and Destiel have got some work to do. 40. He's still not using any battery. He's pretty comfortable right now. Needs to make sure he doesn't make a mistake though. Leo closing in on Bags Liddell. Looking around the outside here at turn 1. Gets in front. Bags is down to 5th. Seb closing in on Reese. Surely there's a battle on here for P6. Through turn 3, then turn 4. Up towards turn 5. Oh, understeer there from Seb. Missed the inside curb. Reese getting a pretty tidy exit. Into the Mistral straight. Yeah, Seb's a bit too far behind. Vegan a penalty. Destiel moves through. Into second position. Big Al down to third. Will Big Al try and fight back, or maybe try and use Destiel to try and catch up to the race leader? I suppose we'll find out in a few moments' time. Al is close, but he won't go for an attack here at turn 11. As we've seen on a few occasions, going side by side through turn 11 doesn't usually end well. Reese gets by Bags. Seb gets by as well. Luke gets balked a little bit. Sector 3 yellows. T-Mac is out of the race. He has crashed out of turn 10. We might have a safety car. Nothing. Really? Nothing. Okie. Okie dokie. Well, there we go. Evidently, T-Mac crashed into the inside barrier at the exit of turn 10. You can tell from the mini-map where he ended up. He's our first retirement of the race. Surprisingly, no safety car. Ford out in front. 1.1 seconds is the gap. Jinbin, Crichton, penalties. A lot of penalties being applied in this race. Al's losing time. 7/10 behind Destiel, who hasn't made tremendous inroads on G-Force Ford. Leo in P4, spending every percentage of battery he's got to try and catch up to Al. Reese, P5. He's got Seb behind, heading up towards turn 10, the seam curve. Max Jr., 3-second time penalty. Seb looks. Oh, Reese gives him just enough room. Or draws alongside at the second apex. Reese stays in front. Bell, Luke, side by side through turn 12. Luke with the inside, Bell with the speed on the outside. Keeps the position. He moves into P7. A fine move. Good driving as well from both Ryan and Luke. Fortunately, no contact, or no major contact I could tell was made. And everyone got through. That's always a good thing to see. Well, here comes Seb, down the inside, heading towards turn 1. He moves in front into 5th. Reese, though, I'm sure, will be looking to counter-attack on the next straightaway, heading towards turn 8. Ryan Bell hovering behind in P7 as well. He's probably in not too pleased mode now. He was probably in not very happy mode after his collision with Destiel. He'd just be none too pleased now as he makes his way onto the Mistral straight. We're right on board with him. Let's have a look at what Reese does. He's closing in on Seb. Seb covers hard, real hard. Heading up towards turn 8. Reese looking around the outside here. And he gets him easy. All that defending from Seb. Ultimately meaningless. Bell. Gee whiz. It was so close to the rear diffuser. So close. Somehow no contact. See, if I got that close, I'd panic and crash into somebody. The Bell, comfy. It's all good. I can get as close as I want to so long as I don't touch. That's exactly what he's doing. On board here with Seb. Have a look at what Bell's up to. And there's Luke just behind. 6.5 tenths behind to be exact. Yellow, yellow, yellow. It is Jinbin who has spun. Where is he? There you are. Exit of turn 11. Reese, what's happened? Reese. An accident at the final corner. We were just looking at him a few moments ago. As soon as I flick away, boom, accident. He's now down at the back of the pack. Well, the back of the train, I should say. Down in P8. Jinbin, a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Oh dear. The amount of 5-second time penalties I've seen in this race. Gee whiz. It just shows you how difficult that pit entry can be. It's so easy to just overshoot your mark. The pit lane speed limit line. Comes at you pretty quick through turn 14, so you need to be on top of your toes. Luke, big old weave, saying, hello, Seb. I'm now right behind you. Let's battle. As he heads back onto the Mistral Straight. Shadowing Seb here. Following the slipstream, he's closing in rapidly. Looks round the outside here at turn 10. Can't make it stick. Looks to the inside at 11. Looks back to the outside. He's looking left and right to try and pass the Red Bull. Seb, oh, really? Wow, really? Just ran a bit wide, I guess. Copped a warning. He looked good. That might have been a warning as well for Luke. That was very close. Ooh, big understeer, big understeer. There's ooh, big oversteer on the exit too. There's a lot of steer in this Alpine right now. Just needs to make sure the car's nice and balanced. Unbalanced race cars aren't particularly fun to drive. 3% battery in Destiel's car. The gap sits at 9/10 of a second. Destiel pushing hard to try and close the gap. He's within a second. He'll get some DRS assistance down the Mistral Straight. An important factor in this Grand Prix. Of course, what is another important factor is that the 5-second time penalty next to Destiel's name. Speeding into the pits. You've got to really make sure you don't speed. So important. Those 5-second penalties, especially in a field as competitive as this, these time penalties have a huge effect in determining where you finish in the Grand Prix, especially if there's a late race safety car. Luke in 7th position, hunting Seb. He's been looking left and right, but he hasn't found a way through. Reese is just hovering behind in P8. See if he can find a way through. Destiel closing in on the race leader. It's now lap 23 of 27. We have 5 laps to go here at Circuit Paul Ricard. It's farewell race in Pacific Tier 1. What a race it has been so far. We'll wait and see what the ending gives us. Bate a little bit behind Crichton. Don't think these two will be battling anytime soon. Logboy a bit behind ACW. Yeah, no, I think the battles are pretty much set now. Closest battle we have is between the top two, so let's keep an eye on them. Ford versus Destiel. Big Al's lost time. He's now 2.1 seconds behind Destiel. His early race pace was fantastic. Unfortunately, on the medium tyre, just hasn't clicked completely for Big Al. That opening stint was truly terrific. But here, in this important phase of the race, it's all just slipped a little bit. We're not talking much, of course. He's only 2 seconds behind, but 2 seconds in the world of online league racing is a light year. In fact, I might have another battle on track at least. Time penalties will ultimately decide Crichton's fate. The bait is closing in, so he might have an on-track battle for 9th position. Seb still has Luke behind him. Luke losing a little bit of ground here and there though. 3/10 is the gap. Ford still has a ton of battery, 56% compared to 21% in Destiel's car. Now Destiel is utilising DRS to try and generate some more battery life. Obviously with DRS it takes a lot of the load off the engine, so it doesn't consume as much battery. Additionally, with the higher speeds at the end of the straight, you're slowing down more, and as a result, you're recharging more battery. He gets close, he looks, but he won't commit to a move. I wonder what Destiel's mindset is. Does he want to stay behind and go for a late race lunge, or will he want to get by as soon as possible? I don't know. I suppose it all revolves around that 5-second time penalty. Don't believe it's removable, Unless there's considerable evidence to suggest that he did actually pull it up at the speed limiter line, and it's just a glitch, which is entirely possible because this is F122. There are glitches everywhere in this game. So that might be a glitch. 5-second time penalty. I don't know. A lot of drivers got 5 seconds for speeding, so guess we'll find out one way or the other. Out to the final corner, down the main straightaway, up towards the line. Now lap 25 of 27. We have 3 laps to go in Le Castellet. Through turn 1, into turn 2. Now Destiel has 1 lap fresher medium tyres. You can see there, lap 10 versus 10 laps versus 11 laps on 40's car, as Reese gets a 3-second time penalty. That is his second of the night. He now has 11 seconds next to his name down the Mistral straight. Destiel not using any battery himself. He's getting close to 30%. 40, he's got just a shade under 60. Bell, Leo, well, not much of a... Oh, what the... Bit of a wiggle there. That might have been a connection thing. But Bell moves through into 4th, but again, he has that time penalty next to his name, which is ultimately going to hold him back. Around turn 11. Absolutely adore this corner. It's a pity. Throughout this race, we haven't got the best camera angle of that corner. There's sort of a grandstand angle, camera angle that you can get, where you can see all of turn 10, all of turn 11, all of turn 12. It's an absolutely fantastic camera shot. And it's nice and still as well. There's no camera moving. You just see the cars flying on through. I like these ones. Those sort of bird's eye shots. You can see so much. 2 laps to go. Up towards turn 1. Destiel closes in. 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits for Crichton. I think he's in the pits, actually. He might be trying to snag fastest lap. Maybe that's his game, with the amount of time penalties he's got. Oh dear, a 3-second time penalty for Destiel. Well, even if he can get that 5-second remove, that 3-second penalty is going to hold him back, and I think he's frustrated. He was very sideways through turn 6. Cost him a few tenths. Dear, oh dear. One simple mistake. That's all it takes. In these kinds of races, where the pressure is high, the competition is good and strong, those little mistakes creep in. They can often be disastrous, especially in a competitive field. 8 seconds worth of penalties, he's going to drop a fair chunk. In fact, with the penalties right now, we'll be seeing Ford, Al, most likely Leo on the podium here in Le Castellet. But we've got to see what happens on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Oh, and a mistake from Destiel! He's off in the runoff area! He lost control through turn 12. He maintained second, but now Big Al's on the back of him. Even more time lost. A small mistake, costing him so much time. ACW, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's now the last lap for the leaders. Ford out in front, Destiel in second, Big Al in third. Big Al doesn't have to do much, he just needs to keep up with Destiel, and second is his. And that's the most important thing for the sake of the championship. Ford is second in the Drivers' Championship, but he's a bit too far behind. He's over 50 points behind. This will help him, but with Big Al in second, the gains are minimal. Up towards the turn 8-9 chicane. That's what some of the other drivers are up to just for a moment. Players on the back of Max Jr. Oh! Whoa, 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 through turn 5. Gee whiz. 2 almost touching. They had to use the extra runoff area just to make sure they didn't touch. DRS open and... Oh, Plev's almost getting through. Not quite. Crichton a 3-second time penalty. Now it's 12 seconds next to his name. Plebs goes through. One sector left for G-Force Ford. It's been a fine display here in Le Castellet. Put it on pole by the smallest of margins. He's put together a very fine drive. Down the main straightaway for the final time, it'll be G-Force Ford who wins the French Grand Prix. Destiel home in second. He will not stay there though. He plummets down the order. Leo will finish in third place in the final podium spot. Bell will get fourth. Luke fifth. Seb sixth. Destiel down to seventh position. Bate eighth. ACW in ninth. Reese Cohen will round out the top 10. Then Wogboy, Ferrari Pro, has retired on the line, and he's not going to get classified. Oh, and Vegan's done the same. Retiring before the line. They're going to lose positions. They're going to drop outside of the points. Well, I'll be... Ooh, Crichton exploring the track limits. Well, there goes Spicy. He's going to finish in 15th with fastest lap. So I wonder what Ferrari Pro and Vegan will do. Well, they crashed before the line. The game classifies them as DNF. And I have a feeling that result will stick as well. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. Jin Bin spinning for the crowd. Get pointed back in the right direction. If he crosses the line without having an accident, he'll finish in 17th. Yeah, no, this is why I don't crash at the line, for this exact reason. Because now you cause a headache for all of the officials. Will they be classified in their quote-unquote finishing positions? Or will they be classified retired from the race? I don't know. Bags Liddell given driver of the day. We'll see his performance in the final results screen. But for now, it's the podium celebrations. The final podium celebration for Pacific Tier 1 here at the iconic Circuit Paul Ricard. And what a fine race to cap off what has been an up and down time with Paul Ricard. A fine drive from G-Force Ford. Big Al put in a big effort at the beginning of the race, ultimately fell short at the end. He comes home in second. Leo, a penalty-free race means he finishes in third. The unofficial results then of the French Grand Prix. G-Force Ford is our race winner by just over 2 seconds to championship leader Big Al. G-Force Leo will complete the podium places in third. Ryan Bell put together a brilliant recovery to finish fourth. Sire Luke, from starting 14th, finishes fifth, making up 9 spots in the race, and somehow doesn't get driver of the day. That's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Seb's 6th, followed by Destiel. Big penalties, he's down in 7th. Followed by Bate, ACW. Reese Cohen rounds out the 10. And we have G-Force Wogboy. Plevs, Bags Liddell, Mass Jr. Spicer got fastest lap and one final point. And we have Crichton, Jinbin, Ferrari Pro, who was classified 27 seconds behind. But he's down in 18th. That's going to be interesting to try and work out. Alright, we'll invite Mr. Ford, Mr. Leo in and have a chat about what's happened over the course of the Grand Prix. Still not sure how Bags got driver of the day. If Luke made up 9 spots from 14th to 5th, I don't know, I think that might be driver of the day. But the game said, no, it's Bags. I'm sure Bags made up a fair few spots, to his credit. I think he made up 6 spots or something like that. But, still, someone else made up more. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's a game. It's broken. We'll invite P1 and P3 in. We can have a chat about what happened in this French Grand Prix. Thankfully, they're both G-Force boys, so it's pretty easy to spot them. Oh, I already have a group. Alright. Oh, I'll double check audio. Hello, Mr. Ford.
Lane, hello.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Leo. Oh, I'll double check audio settings. Just make sure everyone's okie dokie.
I think I should be okay.
Yeah, should be alright. Alright, we'll start from third then. We'll make our way up, as per the norm. Leo, P3 at the end of that one, buddy. Penalty-free race means you stand on the podium. You must be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. I think I drove quite well this race, but my setup, I went for quite a low downforce setup and it just didn't work. I just losing so much time through the corners, so I'm actually quite proud of the way I drove today, but didn't have the pace, but P3 is still pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So it meant then with a lower downforce setup, I'm guessing you had that for qualifying as well.
Yep.
It wasn't the most ideal session then?
It was fine. I mean, it was a pretty good lap. I messed up one corner a little bit, but it wasn't a bad lap. It was like 10th off pole, 10th and a half, so I was pretty happy with that.
Fair enough. But no, throughout that race, you were in that leading pack. I mean, that leading pack existed for a while. Like,
yep.
There was a top 8 that sort of formed. Before that, we had Al and everybody else in a train. So it must have been pretty tight with a lot of the drivers during that opening phase of the race.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I just lacked some downforce, and I had a lot of understeer, and then I came to the pits quite early because I wanted to try undercut and then get ahead, because I knew if I was ahead then they might not be able to pass me because I was fast on the straights, but
yeah.
Couldn't do that. Just didn't have the pace, but I changed the wing up a bit in the pits, which helped a lot, but still wasn't good enough. And after that, I think I drove really well, apart from I think I could have gotten the DRS, but I had a few screen freezes that like messed me up. It's really unfortunate.
Interesting.
At the worst
Everybody
times,
talks about screen freezes. I've never had one. Like,
really?
no, never. Even in Formula Endurance, I don't have one. I don't know why.
Are you racing with PC guys or?
Yeah. Formula Endurance is a crossplay series, so I thought it might have been the PS4 version because I have the PS4 version on the PS5 because I'm not going to spend $110 again for the same game. So I thought that might have been it, but you're on the PS4 version yourself, so maybe that's not it. Maybe I'm just lucky.
Yeah.
Or don't notice them, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I got affected by them quite a bit, which is it's a shame, but it's alright. I'm willing to race with it if we can have some more quick guys.
Fair enough. But penalty-free race, did you have any warnings, though, over the course of the race?
Yeah, I had one warning at, I think it was lap 2 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I was just really clean, and I didn't even think I was going to get a warning. I wasn't really scared about that.
Oh, that's
I think
good,
I was
though.
driving quite well. I think I was definitely driving better than the Silverstone race, even. But the setup was just not good enough, I think.
No, you were pretty tidy then over the course of that race. You were still setting pretty decent lap times for those around you. But yeah, from what you're talking about, just a few tweaks in the setup, you might have been fighting a little bit higher than where you were. But
Yeah, maybe.
But no, that penalty-free race benefited you tremendously. Finishing on the podium, a strong finish. This might be your final race at Le Castellet. It might not come back again. So finishing on the podium might be good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. But, one final question for you. Next week, we're heading over to the Red Bull Ring. It'll be a sprint race. what are your thoughts heading into the Austrian Grand Prix?
I've done quite a few league races around there, so I know it quite well. I haven't really gone great, but I don't think I'll go bad again, hopefully. I don't think that's the trend that's going to keep going on, but I don't know, we'll see.
Alright, man, well, best of luck, but congrats on a really tidy drive, and congrats on a P3 finish. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Lane.
Now, quick shout out to Mr. Al. Put together a very fine race towards the beginning. Led a considerable number of laps until the pit window came along. It was just a bit of a shame to see you drop off in the second half. Just didn't quite have the same consistency and pace as you had on the hard tyre relative to everybody else. But no, a very fine effort from you, Al. And like I said during the stream, it's a bit of damage limitation. Like, you're championship leader, you got a 53-point lead. With 40 winning the race, you know, it narrows the gap a little bit, but literally it's just a little bit. So you'll maintain a very healthy championship lead heading into the next round. So best of luck then, but congrats on another driver getting a very, very clean drive together. And congrats on the P2. But we'll move on to our race winner, Mr. Ford. Welcome back to Victory Lane.
Thank you, hello Lane.
But no, you put together a pretty solid race session, I'd say. Both qualifying and the race looked pretty spot on.
Yeah, I think he summed it up pretty well there. I don't think there was probably too much I could have improved on, to be honest with you, within my limits. So yeah, I agree, that was probably about as best I could do.
Mate, you pulled out pole lap right at the end. That must have been a nice feeling.
Oh, it was awesome, yeah. I was only about half a tenth up after sector 1, and I probably maybe could have got it up to about a tenth or a tenth and a half up. But probably just didn't push as hard through there, but it kind of meant that, you know, for the rest of the lap I was able to push really hard, which I did, and I found that time, so it kind of takes the pressure off, I guess, when you know you have to push. So yeah, no, it ended up being really nice. I found, I think, 2/10 in the final sector alone, so kind of showed you I was basically even on my time until that sort of moment, and yeah, right at the end, man, it felt good.
Yeah, no, you pipped into the post. You pipped out to the post by 14 thousandths of a second.
Not a lot, man. Not a lot.
No, it was a very small margin, probably the smallest margin we've had in a qualifying session in Tier 1 yet. I would have to check that, but it'll be up there.
Could have been pretty close.
Yeah, so I'll have to double check, but that was insane. Yeah. But your start wasn't.
It wasn't against ours, but I was kind of expecting that. I managed to sort of hold everyone else behind. Had a great battle at the start there with Ryan.
Yeah.
And then ended up getting him back on the straight. So luckily I was running quite a low downforce setup as well. My wins were 13.10, so I think they would have been nearly the lowest on the grid, and it meant I was able to overtake Ryan through the straights pretty comfortably.
Interesting. Now, explain the battery usage then, because typically lower wing setups mean better management when it comes to battery. And I noticed that with you. You were pretty good with your battery throughout this race. You must have been pretty happy with that, with the management.
Yeah, well, I knew it was going to be important to at least have, you know, that 50% mark.
Yeah. And
considering the fact in most of the race I was kind of driving in clean air, so I didn't have any DRS to work with. I'd have to play it smart. So yeah, that's what I did. If someone wanted to overtake me, you know, I was pretty happy to let them because it meant I could save up in the DRS. So yeah, I think just try driving fast laps without using the DRS was the main thing.
Yep, fair enough. But there was a moment in the race early where I think you found about half a second on Al. I was flicking through drivers because we had literally Al last, which was Jinbin, who made a mistake or had an accident at turn 2, and then we had everybody else in the middle. So I was flicking my way through, and I noticed the gap shrunk somewhat early. Was that Al doing something, or was that you sort of turning up the pace to try and catch up?
I I have no idea, to be honest. I think it could be now, because my laps in that first stint were all sitting. I think I did like 4 or 5 33.4s in a row, and that was from lap 1 to 5, pretty much. So I think it could have been something off with Al, but also I think my consistency kind of helped that too. You know, it does get a little bit frustrating when you see someone's just not going away. So maybe that went through Al's mind, but
maybe.
I think he might have made a small mistake there to help out. But yeah, I was slowly closing the gap in that first stint to him.
And eventually you did. Just before the pit window, you passed him to take the lead. I think that was through turn 8, 9. You made that stick. Did you pit on the same lap?
Yeah, both went in the same lap. I wanted to pit in front of him, so that's kind of why I pushed for it a lot that lap. So yeah, thankfully I was able to do that. Yeah,
and it all worked out. You ended up in front of him coming out of the pits. There was no pit lane shenanigans going on there. Though a lot of other drivers had shenanigans. Some of them got 3-second penalties for accumulating warnings through there. You know that glitch where you take the pit lane normally and you get a warning out of nowhere?
Yep.
And a fair few drivers got 5-second penalties for speeding. They're not slowing down enough for the speed limit.
Yeah, it's 60 k's is slow, man.
It is.
That's one thing I made sure to get.
So slow. You don't realise how slow it is until you actually do it. Particularly noticeable at tracks like Paul Ricard, especially Silverstone. You really feel it at Silverstone.
Yeah.
But that second stint on the medium tyre, that just looked clean all the way through.
Yeah, it was pretty much perfect. I was able to... I'm not sure how I got rid of Val's DRS. Oh, it was Bags, that's right.
Yes.
Down the pit straight, yeah. So I was able to put a car in between him and myself. And yeah, thankfully I was able to pull away in that first sector. But I used quite a bit of battery in front of Bags on that pit straight. Like, he didn't let me by any means. It was... I think I dumped about 20% to get it done. So yeah, I knew it was crucial to do, which I did right. And yeah, after I broke DRS, there was kind of just slowly pulling out that gap until Destiel got past again.
Yeah, and Destiel started closing in, but you seemed pretty unfazed by it. Your battery percentage didn't change. It stayed consistent in the 50s. Destiel worked hard to catch up, and as soon as he did, he never really got into any sort of position to try and attack you.
I think again my low winds probably helped that a lot on the straights, but also had a 5-second penalty as well, so I was kind of happy to let him catch up, and then coming down to the last 2 laps I still had like 60 or 70%, so I was just going to make sure he couldn't overtake me then, and I think that was probably enough to hold him out.
Yeah, and eventually he would get another 3 seconds added on top. He did that in turn 3, cut a bit too much, got a warning, and then he would eventually make a mistake at turn 12, losing control of the car. And lost a ton of time, so it meant that he tumbled down the order big time with 8 seconds worth of pens.
Yeah.
But it meant that you had a clear track front and behind and drove it home, no problems.
Yeah, it was good race, good to have a full grid again I think, and qualifying showed that like it was very tight. I think only like 6/10 or 7/10 separated most of the field, so yeah, good to have a full grid again.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so cool to see. Qualifying was epic. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing 20 cars out on track, all the traffic, all the drama, and yet everyone got through, everyone set laps, and the entire field was separated by a second.
Yeah, so it shows how competitive it is when
it all clicks.
That's it.
It's great. It's top notch. It just needs to click more often.
Next week could be even closer, I reckon.
And plebs, honestly, with that comment, says you, like Bailey likes to talk a lot, mate. If he likes to talk a lot, you don't shut up at all. So, you know, just understand. One final question for you, 40. Next week we are over at Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Second sprint round, is it?
Second.
Sprint round. It is second. Thoughts then for the upcoming race?
Yeah, we all had a quick chat about it anyway before I came in here, but yeah, I think drama probably will sum it up. And yeah, it'd be pretty close field. It's always close racing there. So it'll be interesting to, I think definitely in qualifying will be important because it's hard to overtake there once you're in that DRS train. So I think quality will be important, and then sprint race as well will be quite important as well.
Yeah, I'm expecting a fair amount of drama. If we can have the same field in the same kind of qualifying session, it's going to be nuts at Red Bull Ring.
I agree.
Honestly, if the attendance is good, everybody's keen, everyone gives it some, that sprint round is going to be something to watch. I can 100% guarantee it. Red Bull Ring is good most of the time, so I'm looking forward to it. Well, best of luck then for next week.
Thank you.
Congratulations on winning the French Grand Prix. What might be the last in Pacific Tier 1.
Yeah, we'll see.
Love you too, players. And I agree, if everyone turns up, it'll be about 6/10 between it. If it was a second tier at Paul Ricard, 6/10 is a very reasonable gap from first to last. It's going to be absolutely nuts, I reckon. So hopefully people show up. Hopefully we all have a good race. Sprint's probably going to be complete mania, and then we've got the actual race itself. And if we get any wet weather conditions, well, there you go. There's another factor to add on top of that. So I think with everything said and done, we can wrap up what was a very good stream. I thoroughly enjoyed this French Grand Prix, and I don't say that often anymore with France. In the past, France was really, really good, but as of recent, sort of toned it down a little bit. But today, lots of good racing, good battling, great qualifying, awesome stuff. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 12 of the championship at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.